Good evening. Welcome to tonight's town hall. My name is Nicholas Thompson, President of the Union of Taxation Employees Toronto North, and I will be your co-host for tonight's event. I want to first acknowledge this land as Turtle Island, unceded land that belonged and belongs to the Indigenous, Inuit, Métis, and First Nations people and their descendants long before colonial powers arrived and named it Canada. This town hall conforms to PSAC and UT's harassment policy, which can be found at psacunion.ca/harassment. Please ensure that your comments and questions are respectful and harassment-free. Joining our town hall tonight are Gina Degner, President of UT Hamilton, which has the largest call center, Mark Briere, National President of the Union of Taxation Employees, and Brother Chris Aylward, National President of the Public Service Alliance of Canada, and the Member of Parliament for Hamilton Centre, Matthew Green. He is the critic for national revenue, public ownership, public services, procurement, and Treasury Board. Co-hosting tonight's event is Brad Faraday. He's the President of UTE Toronto East. This event will be available for viewing later on. I'm just going to run through our agenda for tonight. We're running a very tight program with respect for your time. So we're going to bring on our speakers. We're going to bring on our national president for the Public Service Alliance of Canada, Brother Aylward. He's going to be joining us after I introduce my co-host. And then we'll bring on the rest of our speakers and go into the question period. We want to dedicate the majority of the time to answering your questions. So the CRA has entered into a contract with a third-party unknown firm with no details being provided to provide call center services that our members have been providing. Friends, we cannot accept this. And I'm going to bring on my co-host now, Brad Faraday, and let's dive right into it.
Welcome, Great. Good evening. Yep, thank you. Good evening, Nicholas. Thank you, everybody. What the federal government and the CRA are doing reminds us of why we need to have strong unions and strong members who are willing to stand up in the face of actions that don't just go against us, but against the spirit of the collective agreement. So thank you for all coming out tonight, and please stay tuned for the simple yet incredibly effective call to action that we'll be sharing with you in a bit, and that you can do yourself tonight, and that you can share with others and encourage them to do. Over the last 12 months, we've seen both the good and bad in people and in governments. We've seen extraordinary kindness, bravery, and selflessness by ordinary Canadians. We've seen the federal government put together the most extraordinary relief package since World War II. But we've seen the governments take advantage of the pandemic and try to sneak through their agenda, and sometimes succeeding. So that's why we need you and thank you for being here tonight to stand up for yourselves and other employees, and for doing what you can to stop the outsourcing of call center jobs now, and to send the strongest signal possible to CRA and the government that one job is one too many. Now the question is, does the government have the right to do what they're doing? Technically, yes. But is it within the spirit of what they've been saying about us all year, all the thank yous and praises that have been given to CRA employees, and specifically the call center ones, when Canada needs us the most? Definitely not. And on one hand, they're praising our commitment to the agency, our professionalism, our dedication, our ability to adapt and overcome. And then they come back at us with this. And the question is why? Cheap labor, benefits? We don't know. So it certainly does seem that their words don't match their actions, and that they're talking out of both sides of their mouth. The government and CRA have had 5 months since the throne speech last summer to work together and make sure the CRA had the resources it needed to follow through on that speech, to make sure the CRA hired all the call center employees that it needed in-house, like they have since day one. But either through poor design or poor management, they are telling us now at the last minute that they allegedly have to get a third party to come in and do it, even though they can somehow hire 2,000 new CR employees, but can't quite find the room for 130 more. I think we're all here tonight because it definitely makes you wonder. And more than make you wonder, it makes you feel helpless. which is why being here tonight will help us help you with that first step of dealing with the feelings of helplessness, anger, fear, frustration, whatever it is you're feeling. And we're going to do our best to answer your questions and to give you that tool, that simple and effective tool to take action and to help you help others take action, to show you that this decision that is affecting our jobs and families doesn't have to be, and that each one of us deserves a better, something better, and that when we stand up to do the right thing, things can change, and that this must never happen again. And just to be clear, the reason why we all need to step up and get others to stand shoulder to shoulder with us is because this isn't just about 130 jobs. It's because of what it represents. These pandemic benefits are budgeted to continue through at least 2022. Who is going to be there to answer the questions that Canadians have? Us or more third-party minimum wage workers? What's going to happen to all of those volunteers from collections, appeals, audit, who go back to their jobs that CRA has said that they still can't fully do because of the pandemic? What is CRA going to be doing with them? We don't know. Why does CRA have the ability to train these outside workers and possibly manage them, but they don't have the ability to keep those jobs within CRA? We don't know. Too many questions, too few answers. What happens if the wrong answers are given by these outside workers? Does that make us and CRA look bad? Is CRA liable for the actions of that company? If Canadians call in and they want to ATIP that call, can they? We don't know. Who is ultimately responsible for the actions of those outside workers and the company? And most importantly, who does that reflect on? We know it reflects on us. We are professionals, we're trained, we have the support, we're accountable, and we have the experience. If the federal government and CRA knew that they needed so many more call center workers, then why did they take the action over the last couple of months to make sure they had us at the ready and that they could have had the resources ready to help us? We rose to the challenge last spring. Now, instead of us using that experience and believing in what we've accomplished, they've decided to take a cheaper, shorter-sighted approach to help and support Canadians who needed that help and will continue to need that help. On behalf of Nicholas and the other panels, I thank you for being here, for learning what is at stake, for asking your questions, and for taking the simple yet effective actions that will remind our government and CRA that we deserve better, that we have helped Canada and continue to help Canada in her time of need, and that we are the ones who should be continued to be respected and valued and called upon to provide Canadians with the answers and support that they need and deserve. Because as we said, one job outsourced is one job too many. Back to you, Nicholas.
Thank you very much, Brother Faraday, for those remarks. So I'm going to bring on our national president. He's going to share, what the national union, what PSAC plans to do about this. When we heard locally within the GTA that, this was happening, we learned about it the same time, a few hours prior to you learning about it, you the members, that is, and we immediately sprung into action to one, put on this town hall, bring this platform to life, to give you that opportunity to hear from your leaders, to hear from UTE National, to hear from the Public Service Alliance of Canada, what your union is doing to combat this issue, to prevent this from happening, or to take all steps necessary to take action. So I'm going to bring on Brother Aylward without further ado, and he's going to join us and talk to us about what's happening and what steps that we plan to take. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Nicholas. Good evening, friends. I'm speaking to you this evening from Ottawa, of course, which is the traditional and unceded territory of the Anishinaabe Algonquin people. I want to start with something that Brad just touched on a little bit, and where he said that the agency is prepared to hire 2,000 employees for the upcoming filing season. How is it that they can't hire 2,130 employees? And there's something just simply not right with this. And I don't know if it's somebody was promised something by this government 6 months ago, 8 months ago, and now it's coming to fruition. I can't understand it. I will say this, that every time that the federal government in Ottawa starts contracting out public services, and especially public service jobs, we have to, whether it's 130, whether it's 10, whether it's 5,000, we have to fight back, because it's 130 today. And how many is it going to be in 6 months from now, or in a year from now? And you can be sure of one thing, that because of all the money, the billions of dollars that have been spent because of COVID, we are someday, and I'm not suggesting it's going to be in the next federal budget, which we believe is going to come out sometime in March, but we are going to face very, very soon an austerity budget. There's no doubt in my mind about that. And we're going to have to be ready for that. And I think this kind of thing, as I said, whenever contracting out, and contracting out is not new in the federal public service. It happens all the time. It happens with our friends at the National Defense and throughout the government. But we have to make sure that we fight back. And what we're currently doing, and what PSAC is doing, we currently have 2 staff members, Michelle Jarash, who is fantastic on this stuff. She is our privatization officer, and Howie West. Again, 2 of them have been involved in this kind of thing in the past, and they are working, of course, with us, and we will work with your component. We will work with the Union of Taxation Employees, and PSAC will provide whatever support, whatever resources are needed to fight this. One of the things that you can do is that you can start writing your members of parliament, regardless, unless you're from Hamilton Centre. Start calling and writing your members of parliament. And you might think, oh, that's not going to do anything. They're not going to read that. Somebody else is going to answer for them. It will, because it will start the chatter within the whatever party they're from. So I'm asking you to do that right after this meeting tonight or tomorrow, but no later than tomorrow. Call or write your member of parliament and tell them to say that you're a member currently of an employee of the Canada Revenue Agency, and you are very concerned because this is happening. Why do they have to contract out these jobs? Why can't they hire people? Because of the last 10 months of COVID, we all know there's people out there looking for work. And when this government says we're going to hire 2,000, but we can't hire that additional amount, we got to outsource that. As I said earlier, there's something just not right about that. We went through something very, very similar when COVID started, not with CRA, of course, but with Service Canada. Service Canada said that they needed to contract out all these jobs, and we said no. You don't have to contract out all these jobs. And we did get an agreement. Finally, I called the minister that's responsible for Service Canada, and I said, if you think we're going to sit silent on this, we all understand the need for having to hire additional Service Canada employees. But that's what they need to be, and not contracted out. And we got them to agree that they wouldn't do it, and that if they were going to do it, it would be for a one-time only to make sure that those jobs were protected. And I can assure you that we will do the same thing here. But as I said, it's, contracting out, and we've tried every round of bargaining. We try to get, contracting out language in our collective agreements to make sure that our jobs are protected, because that's what we have to do. That's a fundamental, basic duty of the union, is to protect workers' jobs. And that's what we will do in this case as well. As I said, we will work very closely. I know Mark Briere, your component president, is going to be speaking soon. And I've committed to Mark that we will work with the component, the Union of Taxation Employees, and we will do whatever it takes to fight this. But you as well can do something about this. And if you think for a second that writing a member of parliament is of no value, I would disagree with you, because I believe that there is real value in writing members of parliament. And I asked you to do this. I was on a call earlier this afternoon about something else, dealing with CRA though, with Jagmeet Singh, the leader of the NDP. And they are aware, of course, because of Matthew, who's going to be speaking soon. They are aware of this situation already. And they're prepared to ask questions in the House. They're prepared to do, basically to bring it to the forefront, to make sure that we're not happy, the employees of CRA are not happy, and again, to ask that vital question of 2,000, you can hire 2,000, but you can't hire an additional 150, 100, whatever it is that you need. There's just something wrong about that. There's no doubt. If they had to come and say, look, we need 2,000 employees to start in February, there's nothing we can do about this. We've got to outsource it. We've got to contract that out. But you're going to hire 2,000. I'm not saying that would be a good thing, but we got to make sure that it's just not making sense as to why they're doing this. And they can say, we don't have enough time. And the call centers are already overloaded. Look, we can find space. I'm sure we can, for an additional 100 people. So again, that's what's really bugging me about this. There's something just not sitting right with me when they're going to hire a couple of thousand, but they can't hire an additional couple of hundred. It's not, like I said, it's not making sense to me at all. As I said, we will certainly work with the component with this to fight back, because regardless of its, as I said, if it's 5, 10, 100, or 5,000, we've always got to make sure that we are protecting our members' jobs, and we will continue to do that. You'll have my assurances as the national president of PSAC that the PSAC will work with your component to make sure that we're doing everything we possibly can to fight this, because it simply doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me at all. But as I've said, contracting out in the federal government is certainly nothing new. When they do it, we don't like it, and we fight back every time, and we'll do that this time as well. So I do want to thank you for inviting me, and I do want to thank the members who are on the call this evening. Thank you for calling in. You're sitting in front of your computers, I'm sure, all day long doing work, and then we ask you to jump on in front of your computer again in the evening. So I really want to acknowledge that and thank everyone for joining. And I do want to thank Matthew Green as well. As I said, I know that Matthew's going to be speaking soon, but I do appreciate all the work that the NDP is doing, and Matthew specifically, not just on this issue, but on all issues that affect Canadians, especially workers, and making sure that workers are protected in this country. So again, folks, thank you very much. I'm certainly going to stay on, and any questions you may have, I'll do my best to answer them. So thank you, Nicholas and Brad, for organizing this, for sure, and thank you for inviting me.
Thank you very much. So there you heard it from Brother Chris Aylward, the National President of the Public Service Alliance of Canada, and he has said very clearly that we will do, regardless of the amount, whether it's 100, whether it's 1,000, that PSAC will do all that's within its power to stop this outsourcing from happening, whether it's now or in the future. Next, I'm going to bring on I'm going to bring on Gina. Sister Gina is the president of UTE Hamilton. And then we're going to bring on the member of Parliament for Hamilton Centre, Matthew Green. He is the critic for public services. So Gina, please welcome to the program. Tell us, Gina, you have the largest call center, UTE call center, over 1,000 members. Tell us what, since this announcement, what has your members been saying? Give us some background there.
Well, I can tell you I was shocked when I found out about this. I know we just hired an additional 200 people this year. on top of what we hired. We are a machine when it comes to bringing people into our call center. They're very efficient. We have a very strong management team and a strong union president in our local, our union presence in our local. And I was so surprised when they said this, because 130 people, you can't tell me that somebody, over all the call centers in the country, we couldn't manage to hire 130 people for this. I also want to speak to the fact that Canadians have reached out to us in our call center repeatedly, thanking us for the services that we've offered throughout this pandemic. It has been a tough road for those call center employees. They've been working extra hours. They're diligent. They're well trained. We are checked for things that we do, so we're accurate. I don't even know what's happening with the outsourcing. Are they going to be checking that they're giving accurate information? Is it going to create problems for us in the long run due to inaccurate information going out there? I can't get any information on that. So I'm a little bit worried about that, because there can be fallout. Outsourcing has happened before. Often it's been said that when we outsource, it can end up costing us more. So I'm not understanding why they said they couldn't hire 130 people. It makes no sense to me at all, because we're a strong local, and I think they would have been able to hire this many people. Also, if you are hiring them and you're calling into one of our call centers, you're going to get accurate information. We're going to check to see that people are properly trained and doing things properly. So none of it makes sense to me. To me, it's a slippery slope. They're trying this out. Like Chris said, there's going to be some austerity that's going to happen in the future. I think we all know that's coming. And to Chris's, can we absorb this many people? Of course we can. I mean, everybody's teleworking nowadays. I think there's only 14 people that are still in my office. The rest of them are all teleworking. All my call center employees picked up their equipment and left within a couple of weeks and started working in the field to serve the Canadians. I feel it's a bit of an insult to us as a call center, as all the call centers across the country, because we're very good at what we do and we're great at serving Canadians, and Canadians know that. And we need to fight this, because this is where it starts. This is where they're going to start testing it out and see how it goes, and they're going to keep moving forward with it. And if there's term employees out there that don't have positions, then we should be hiring them back and bringing them in. These are probably already high quality employees. So I'm not in agreement with this at all. I think we should fight it. I have brought it up with my employees. I mean, I think the employees right now don't even know what's going on. They're all unsure of what all this means. But I know that they could have found it in some call center somewhere across our country. They could have hired another 130 people. This doesn't make any sense to me at all. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Gina. So we have, in my call center, we have just over 300 workers, 350 workers in my call center. Between November and present, we've hired more than 130 people past that. So it's really mind-boggling why there's this stickler to stick in out of nowhere 130 people who is somehow magically gonna fill the void of what they're saying that this gap is during tax season. So without further ado, I'm going to, just before we move forward, one reminder there, and I see one of those comments coming in. We are going to be providing a tool for you to write to the Minister of National Revenue. Actually, that tool is listed within the chat, within the description of the YouTube link. So Brad Faraday is going to talk to you later on about that action. But we do have a tool that is prepared, and you just have to enter your name and your postal code. That will send a message to your Member of Parliament, to the Minister of National Revenue, and to the Commissioner of CRA. So we are prepared to act, and we do have those tools ready for you. by the end of this call, not tomorrow, not the following day. We need them to get the urgency of this immediately. So I'm going to bring on Mr. Green. He is, as Brother Aylward said, very dedicated on the public services file and has been raising a number of issues, including equity issues in the Parliament. So Mr. Hamilton, sorry, Brother Green, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me on the call. What an incredible live stream. Just, tuning in and getting a chance to hear some of the remarks here. Look, first off, as the Member of Parliament for Hamilton Centre, I just have to begin by thanking the incredible team that we have in Hamilton. Many of you will know that our office processes so many cases, thousands of cases every day, trying to connect people through your support to their back taxes and to their entitlements and everything else that's unlocked by that. And it is very concerning for me that in the chaos of COVID, that they would do this attack, hoping that we didn't have, that they can get the public's attention somewhere else, when it's been UTE and CRA workers who have been helping us, through these difficult times, through CERB, and just being so nimble and so flexible to transition on the go and be able to support Canadians through this difficult time. And yet here we have a Liberal government who would rather this program of early austerity. And I was reading the comments. You're quite right. When they have this test, right? They're going to test with the first 130 and see where it goes and find other ways in which they can create a precarious workforce out of our frontline workers for CRA. It's absurd to me. It's outrageous. And unfortunately, it's not surprising with this particular government. So, with President Chris talking about this push towards austerity, it boggles my mind that they would start here in the one particular department that has just been over and above adjusting and accommodating the transition, knowing that there are, and I'm not saying this, to pit any departments against each other, but I'm in government operations, and I know that there's lots of workers out there right now who are on accommodations and they're just not working. We could most certainly have accommodation within our teleservices to absorb this, and the fact that this government wants to contract it out is very telling. So look, the reason why I'm here today is obviously to hear from you. I'll share with you, if it wasn't for Nick, Gina, and the folks flagging this, I wouldn't have known. I would not have known that this was going down. And so I think that there's an ability for us after this meeting to put a statement out immediately tomorrow, to write a letter to the minister tomorrow. And then, as you know, we're going to be off next week, and then the House will be resuming in the weeks after. But this is something I'm certainly going to be raising in the House of Commons through debate and through questions, because, this government is seeking to make these types of moves, hoping that the public's attention is drawn somewhere else. But these are critical things, not just for the workers, but for the constituents of Hamilton Centre as well. Like, we rely on the fantastic service that we get out of the call centers and out of the workers who are working home trying to support Canadians throughout this. So, this idea of austerity is something that's real. And you know what? If you're insulted, like I heard from Gina, it is insulting that they would do this, knowing that you have the ability to move people from these acting positions into permanent positions. They're just not committed to workers. And I commend you for gathering tonight in this what I would assume is a relatively emergency meeting, to start to plan next steps in whatever it looks like, direct actions. I'm hoping that we can stay close in contact and ensure that we don't allow for this type of outsourcing to happen. I think it's a trial balloon. I really do. And if we give them, never mind 130 jobs, if we give them the opportunity or a window for 10 jobs, 10 becomes 20, 20 becomes 100, and 100 becomes God knows what. So that's our commitment as New Democrats. As you know, we're constantly fighting for working class people in this country. We're constantly fighting to ensure that our workers within the public sector are treated fairly and equitably. And it just, it's outrageous that for everything that you've done for Canadians throughout COVID, the incredible service that you've provided, adjusting to all the programs that have been thrown at you in your way, is just it's unconscionable. So we're not going to allow that to happen. We're going to fight like hell, and I'm going to do everything within my power. Raising this issue with the minister, putting the pressure on them, and ensuring that we stay vigilant against this. So I'm happy, Brother Thompson. I don't know if you want to do a Q&A or how you might want to treat this section here, but I think that it's important. Look at this. Wow, that's some good production, my man. Making sure that we're in dialogue, because the more information you give me, the stories, the inside information in terms of how it relates to how it's affecting your collective agreements and your contracts, the more equipped I'll be to be able to go back into my work in the House of Commons and fight like hell for all of you guys.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm going to open it up while you are here. If you have a question for Matthew, please post it in the chat box. He is the Member of Parliament for Hamilton Centre, and he is the critic for public services. So please post your questions in the chat box. I'm just going to put the first question to you. You mentioned that you will be issuing a statement, your party will be issuing a statement on this, condemning this outsourcing. Will you also commit to raising this in question period directly? I don't
control question period. So before we get ahead of ourselves, I don't control question period. But I do have the ability within debates and within my committees to raise this issue. But question period is typically reserved to the powers that are much higher above me in that regard. And so I don't want to make commitments that I can't keep. I'm going to pitch it because I think it's part of a broader trend. But right now we are also laser focused on vaccines and on vaccine production for Canadians, and it's just going to depend on whether or not we have the opportunity to do that. But I'm, I will commit to you that you're going to have my full support, everything within my power to do that. And I'll share with you, look, at the end of the day, question period is theater, and it's an hour a day. But there are debates that happen in House duty and in legislature that last all day, and in committee that last all day. And I think that for me, when I ask a question in the House, what I end up doing is clipping it and putting it out to media. And that's going to happen anyways. So for me, writing the statement and writing the official letter demanding, what's happening here with the outsourcing is going to be the official way in which, in my critic's role, I can do that. But a 30-second question in question period might not have the effect that you think it might have. I think there's a social media campaign that we can do. I think that the workers who are both in Hamilton, like the Minister of Labour is right beside us there in HWAD, and Minister Philomena Tassi. And so directing some attention to her and asking her to, to stick up for local workers, I think is an important thing to do.
Well, thank you very much. I'm just going to take you back backstage there. So that was Matthew Green. He's the Member of Parliament for Hamilton Centre, and he's the critic for actually national revenue. He's a critic for national revenue and public services. So thank you very much for joining us. I'm just going to bring on Brother Aylward to, we're fielding some questions here from the member. And you've mentioned some of these points before, but I'll put the question on the screen posted by a member. Why would our employer keep us at our current salary if they can outsource for more than likely minimum wage?
Yeah, I mean that's a critical question, of course, and as a couple of people have said it now, this sounds like it's almost like a balloon, right? That they want to float. And it's like, hey, if we can get away with this, then maybe it's 200 next, and then next thing it's 500. So that's why I said earlier, we have to do everything we possibly can to push this back and to fight this. And I did see one of the other questions, Nicholas. Sorry that came in about what can the PSAC do that help fight this. As I said, we will do everything. We have two staff people who are very well versed in contracting out and outsourcing jobs. They are currently looking at this to see exactly what kind of a campaign that we can mount and what can we do. I know that the time is very, very short for sure, But like I said, we can definitely come out and with a campaign to help fight this. And we will work with your component, the Union of Taxation Employees, and provide whatever is necessary to fight this. Because the last thing we need to know or want people to look or view how to view this is that it's only 130 jobs. Come on, right? It's been said before that 130 this time is going to translate into 500 the next time and 1,000 the next time. So we got to make sure that we do everything we can to push this back for sure. And as has been stated, it just doesn't make any sense at all as to why they can't hire an additional 130. We're hiring 2,000, but we can't hire 2,130. I get, especially at CRA, math is not that hard. It shouldn't be that hard. And when they say, oh no, we can hire 2,000, but we can't hire 130, we need to contract out. There's something that's just not right about that. So,
thank you. I'm going to bring on Brother Mark Briere. He's the president of the Union of Taxation Employees. He's the national president, representing 30,000 of us at the CRA. Brother Briere, welcome. Thank you for joining us this evening. Give us your take on what's happening, and I'm actually going to bring on a question. Henry's asking this right away, and perhaps while you're getting into it, you can answer this question. He says that we need to know the identity of this third party who will be running this contractor and what is their relationship. Well, I don't think you'll know what their relationship is, but if you could certainly provide details on all that you know about this, that you are able to provide, and what steps that UT has taken so far. And we've heard from Brother Aylward that the PSAC will do all in its power to fight this.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Good evening, Nicholas. Do you hear me well?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure because I just made it home. I got the very nice teeth now. I went to the dentist. So sorry for being late. Look, we don't know, to answer the question that was asked by one of the members, we don't know the identity of the third party that has inherited this contract so far. We are looking into it. Chris mentioned that there's some staff at the PSAC dedicated on campaigns. I'm in contact with the PSAC communications. I've talked with Brother Aylward and with some other people at the PSAC to try to find out who's the company. So we're digging to find out. We don't know. So trust me, if we think that there's a link with them and the government, we would have a good time in the media. But jokes aside, this is an unfortunate situation. Obviously, we're like the PSAC, we're totally against any outsourcing of jobs, public service jobs in the private sector. That's, a no-brainer. The CRA, when we met with them, basically they told us that they were not able to take this additional workload, even though we made the case, just like Brother Aylward mentioned, what's the big deal between 2,000 and 2,130 or, something like that. The employer says that the regions and the call centers are adamant that they cannot take this additional workload at this time because of all the new hirings in the call centers. So there's a lot of new people coming in the call centers. They're supposedly maxed out, according to the employer. And the employer has been saying that it's not necessarily to hire the new people to do the emergency benefits, but it's to the infrastructure that goes around these new hirings. So, providing computers, providing phones, having people to basically to clear them on time for the end of February. And they're saying that it's a question of timing, that they just can't do it right now. So we've pushed back. We started to, we were advised just before Christmas, and we didn't have almost no details. I came back from vacation earlier just on that file in early January, so we rushed to have a meeting. We were consulted then, we pushed back, think of something, an objection, we raised it. And then they came back, they went away with this, and they were supposed to come back to us to continue the consultation. And unfortunately, the employer postponed the meetings twice. And when we were supposed to have the meeting this past Tuesday, the employer last Friday called me in the afternoon to say that, sorry, but the minister will make an announcement on Monday afternoon. We need to meet Monday morning. So we did accommodate them and met on Monday morning, but we were more informed than being consulted. And let me tell you that we were not very happy with the situation. But the contract has been awarded. It goes for 6 months from February until August. And we've pushed back with the employer. And what we want to make sure is that if we cannot stop this time, that we want to make sure that the employer will increase its capacity and to be able to basically intake this workload at the end of this contract if we cannot stop it. Now, we're gonna fight. I'm glad to see that you're having a town hall with our members tonight, and that we're gonna call the members to take some action. I've let the employer know. I've been on the phone with the employer again today. I'm on the phone with PSAC on and off, and we'll do everything we can to fight this. So it's very unfortunate, and yes, it's only a few hundred jobs maybe, but as Brother Aylward said, it's this time it's on a few hundred jobs, but we don't want to open the door and to say, well, that's okay, you can outsource a little bit. It's only 130 jobs. That's not the right signal to send to the employer. We need to fight back, and I let them know that we will that this is not acceptable. And I'm following up with the employer. I don't know, tomorrow I'm in meetings all day. I cannot escape, but I'm trying to go back at it on Monday morning with the employer, and we'll see after what the next steps are. And I'm in touch with PSAC on a daily basis, multiple times a day. So that's it.
Sorry about that. We're still learning how to unmute ourselves during, these types of virtual events. I was reading a comment here from a member. So Lisa said, so many members stepped up, volunteered, and worked tirelessly throughout the pandemic. This is the real thank you from the employer. Time to fight hard. It's certainly time to fight hard, Lisa, and that's exactly what we intend to do. I'm going to bring on Mark Briere. He's going to, there's a question here that was posted for him, and it says, has the government released any statements about outsourcing to the public media? I've yet to see any news on this.
Well, yes, actually, the Minister of National Revenue, Diane Deboutier, has released a message to the media on Monday. She released her statement, and in there she highlights that we're getting, that the CRA got additional funding from the government, which is accurate, following the fall economic statement, and a good chunk of cash is for additional resources, more employees in the call centers, which is the good news for us. Like, we're getting, roughly 2,000 new employees, new members of UT. So I mean, that we will take greatly, gladly, and we've been advocating for this for many years now. But at the same time, she did mention in a paragraph that they were giving a contract to a third party. So it's there, and that's that message that I reacted late on Monday, the same day. And we will continue to react. Like, we have a first message, but I'm in touch with PSAC, and we will release another message Monday morning with another quote from me, and then we'll see if we push it any further. I mean, we're going to take action. You guys are calling for people to take action. It's really good, but we'll see how far we're going to take this. And I've applied more pressure on the CRA in a phone call this afternoon with the head of HR at the CRA, and I asked the head of HR to talk to the commissioner again, which I did talk to the commissioner last Friday afternoon. So we're continue to apply pressure on the CRA The only thing that I would like is to put my hands on the name of that company and to see the affiliation, if there's any political affiliation, how much, what's the contract, how much it is, are they at least based in Canada? I doubt very much that they're unionized, but we'd like to find out a bit more about that contract for sure. But we're basically, it's game on. We're on the CRA, all over the CRA for the last few days, and today it intensified, and I want to keep pushing on the CRA because we need to find more answers. And if we need to, we're going to talk to maybe the opposition parties. I know that the NDP is seriously interested in that unfortunate outcome right now. So it's not over yet. It's just a start.
Thank you. And there's another question here. Has the CRA expressed wanting to outsource call center and collections work in the past? And is this a possibility in the future?
They never expressed that to us at all. And is it a possibility? Well, I mean, yes, everything is possible. I mean, is it impossible to privatize the call center work and the collection work? No, it's not impossible. But is it in the air? No, it's never been mentioned by the employer. And so we're going to make sure that, as much as we can, it's not happening. Now, that being said, we did try. Members need to know that we did try in the past to include the language in the collective agreement to prevent outsourcing, contracting out, and the employers refused. So I'm going to let you know ahead of time that the next round of bargaining, guess what? It's going to be there again. And I do agree, by the way, with the members. I want to let the members know that I was seriously actually, I was livid last Friday afternoon. I was called about this and the announcement on Monday by the minister. And I can tell you that I let the commissioner know about it in no uncertain terms. And we collaborated greatly with the employer, and our members did amazing work before, but since the start of the pandemic. They came on and displayed a tremendous commitment to the taxpayers, and a lot of employees helped out by volunteering to leave their substantive positions to help out with the emergency benefits. And now that they are going back to their substantive position, the CRA that gives it away to a third party, no, that's not acceptable. No.
Thank you very much. So we have created a tool, a call to action tool that we'll be talking to you about. We're just going to take some more questions. So if you could post your questions for either Brother Aylward or we still have the Member of Parliament for Hamilton Centre, Matthew Green, on. So if you'd like to post a question for him from a political perspective on this, you can in the chat box here. And looks like we have some more questions here for Brother Briere. Can we confirm that this outsourced company won't be able to access social insurance numbers?
Well, I guess the CRA would be better positioned to answer it, but what I can tell you is that the CRA has assured us, because that's one of the things we raised, the CRA has assured us that this third party, their employees will have absolutely zero access to the computers, like the system of the CRA. So it will be totally separate. It's going to be probably people going from Q&As or some type of script answering the questions on the benefits. And from what we know, if anything is related to their taxes or anything that is confidential, then they will give out the 800 number to contact the CRA call centers. So no, they won't have access to the system that is in. What we're afraid of is that a taxpayer thinking they're calling CRA, actual employees at CRA are members that might inadvertently give out that information to a third party, even though they're not asking for it. That's one of the things that we raise with the employer as well.
Mark, Michelle is asking a very, very important question here, and perhaps we could see if it was raised before. She's asking, have we asked why the employer hasn't rehired our laid off members from the GTA? They could have speed up. They could get up to speed quicker than these new people from a third-party company. So has that been put on the table if the CRA has looked at rehiring laid-off employees, especially call center workers in the past?
Well, we've raised multiple objections, and yes, we did talk about rehiring people that were laid off to go with the rehired lists, but not specifically to the GTA, to be honest. But anywhere in the country where we got call centers, we asked the employer, why aren't you, giving a chance to our members that were let go, terms that were let go, and why don't you call them back? The answer is always the same. They said, look, we're hiring 2,000 people for the call centers, and this workload, we just can't take it. It's not the 130 or how many people they're going to have. It's we don't have time to turn around on time for this tax season right now. It's too much at the same time. And that's why I said, well, what's the diff between 2,000 and 2,100? And they say that they can't do it, and they don't have the infrastructure. That's what they said. You don't have the infrastructure to deal with this. So yes, we've raised it, not specifically to the GTA, but we raised it for all our members across the country. And I did raise it again this afternoon with a CRA official.
Why are they not asking for volunteers, as some areas are not back up to full business capacity?
We've asked the same question because we wanted to retain members doing the job. They're saying that the members are going back to their substantive positions. They got job to do, and that they're going to get more busy as in the next few weeks or months. So it's not a viable option because the workloads are resuming. That's what the employer is telling us.
And why have we asked why the employer hasn't? Oh, we've answered that question already. Okay, so let's see here. Andrea, if you could post some of the questions that have been asked via the RSVP, please. We're getting a question here from Alan. With the compensation recent changes and the news that the terms may not be renewed, could compensation be another spot where CRA would outsource? And I think that's one of the fears of our members. Where is next? Would it be collections? Would it be, somewhere in audit? Would it be where is next? Because this absolutely, as Brother Aylward said, it makes no sense at all in terms of the urgency and the priority that they're rolling this out. For just 130 workers, it's mind-boggling as to what level of service this 130 people could provide to thousands or millions of Canadians who are accessing CRA services. So it just doesn't add up. So perhaps, and that's why we're having this town hall, so that our members can ask these questions, because people are worried, where is next?
Okay, well, look, I totally understand that the fact that the CRA is outsourcing jobs is worrisome for our members. Absolutely. The people need to, I just want to caution people before jumping to conclusion. Like, we're going to fight, and we're fighting like big time against this. But let's be clear, these were not jobs that left the CRA in the sense that they were not like we don't have job descriptions. They are not part of our membership. There's no WFA situation. So as basically, we want those jobs. Our members have volunteered to do it. We can do it. We have the security clearance. I mean, there's no reason not why to outsource it. But we are not losing membership or jobs to the private sector that were belonging to our bargaining unit. And to the fact, actually, we're getting 2,000 new jobs for our call centers, which is a good news. And we think that the CVB will also add, a lot of jobs in the coming year. We're being told like 1,000 jobs. So, but the problem is we just don't want the door to be open. So we agree with you. We need to push back big time. I'm putting the question to the CRA. CRA is telling me that they have absolutely no intention in, sending stuff outside, more jobs outside. They say it's a question of timing, that they cannot handle it at this time. So we want to make sure that this is true. And one of the ways that I'm pushing right now is to make sure that if we cannot stop this, I made it clear to the CRA that I want a commitment that if this contract is expiring in 6 months, This is going to be the end of that, and I want way before that a commitment by CRA that these jobs will come back and be done by CRA employees, new hires at the CRA ASAP. And that's what I want to get. If I cannot stop it, I want to make sure that's going to stop as soon as possible, and that they prove that it's a question of timing and the infrastructure and all that, that those jobs are going to be ours ASAP. And if it comes forward, it will be a good sign and more secure. But right now, CRA has been adamant that they don't have any plans to privatize our jobs. Now, does that mean that we need to take it for granted and not be careful? Absolutely not. We need to be very vigilant, and that's what we're going to do for sure.
Thank you very much. I'm going to bring on Brother Faraday just before we get to some more questions. And we're almost coming down to the end. We're going to answer some more of your questions, but we're going to talk to you about the call to action that's going to be coming up very soon. Okay. So, all right,
Yeah,
Brother
great.
Faraday, tell us about the call to action that we've prepared.
Sure, thank you. Yeah. So, and this is why you have to do it, because you have to remember, these guys always underestimate us. They underestimated us in 2016 when they said a final offer. We had 3 final offers before our strike vote said, no, we won't accept it. What happened? We got way better results as a result. They're going after us because we're isolated, we're divided, and they think we can conquer it. They can conquer us. We need to show them that that is not the case. That's why we need everybody to stand up. And so what we're going to be doing is we've got a link for the call to action. It's very simple. It's 5 sentences, and they're strong and profound, and they're going to help us help you and everybody else who sends this to the minister, the commissioner, and Dan Couture. So that's what we want to do. It says, I'm writing to you about CRA's recent announcement to outsource call center jobs that have been with the agency since its inception and which have always been UTE jobs. Over the last year, all CRA employees, and especially call center employees, have gone above and beyond when asked by CRA and Canadians when they needed us the most. We were commended and thanked profusely time and again for our extraordinary dedication, service, and professionalism. It is deeply disheartening to find out that these were merely words and that our actions and dedication are not valued by the federal government and CRA. I urge you to ensure that these remain UTE positions and to maintain the highest level of service and professionalism that Canadians have come to expect from CRA. It's very polite, but it's very assertive. And we need all of you who are on here tonight to do it, to sign it as the as the Member of Parliament for Hamilton Centre State. Do it tonight. Then go out and get your brothers and sisters who work with you. Even your family members can do it. Anybody can do it. So get out there and do it. And let's remind CRA and the government who they're fighting with, because we've shown them time and again what it's like when they go against us, and they don't want to be there. Thanks, Nicholas.
Thank you very much. So this tool, it is posted in the chat box in the description field. So you just have to click on the link, enter your name, your postal code, and that will go to your Member of Parliament. It will go to the Minister of National Revenue, and it would go to the Commissioner of the Canada Revenue Agency. So some very practical steps, and as the Member of Parliament for Hamilton Centre said, and Brother Aylward said, these are very, very effective tools. These are your elected members of Parliament. It is their duty to represent you on these issues. It is by, and I saw someone there posted, what's the effect of that? Will that do anything? Yes, it will do something, because if the minister is getting hundreds or thousands of these, it will send a strong signal that this is an important issue to employees and to Canadians, right? When the CRA commissioner receives thousands of these, he will have no choice but to raise these issues with the minister, right? So if we continue If every person here tonight, at this point, I'm seeing 228 folks logged in. And by tomorrow, other people are going to be viewing it and seeing this call to action. Let's send those 228 messages right now. Just a few clicks, your postal code, and the pre-populated message is going to shoot off right away, right? That's the first step that you can take. You've been asking us what you can do. That's a first step that doesn't cost you anything other than 5 seconds of your time, but sends a strong message to your elected officials and those who have the power to act.
Yeah, don't be afraid. Don't feel helpless. Get up, do something, help yourself. Just so you know, one other time when we were doing political action, we had half of our 30,000 brothers and sisters take action. Do you think that the Minister of Finance heard that? The Minister of Revenue heard that? They very well did. And that's what we can do when we have that solidarity and all of us take action together. So do it tonight, spread the word, they'll tell 2 people, and so on and so on and so on. Don't feel helpless, feel empowered.
Thank you very much. So don't feel helpless, feel empowered. I'm just going to bring on Brother Aylward to see if there's any closing remarks, and then we're going to wind down and focus on sending off as many of those as possible, of many of those call to actions as possible. Brother Aylward, any closing remarks for the members?
Yeah, just really quickly, Nicholas, the Public Service and Procurement Canada, PSPC, about 3 years ago, and PSPC are responsible for the Phoenix Pay System. They tried the same thing. They opened an additional call center outside of the pay centers. They opened an additional private call center, and we pushed back, and they did shut it down. They told us, oh, it's only going to be open for 6 months, and that's it. It's just to help. It didn't last 2 months because people and people are after making comments about making sure that we maintain the integrity of sensitive information. And what that call center was doing for the few weeks that it operated was just call in, hi, yeah, here's my problem with my pay. Okay, what's your name? What's your PRI number? And we'll have somebody call you back. That was the only thing they could do because they didn't have a clue about the pay system. And if this is going to be anything like that, then absolutely the integrity of CRA is down the tubes, right? So we got to make sure that that's highlighted as well. But certainly, again, I want to thank you and Brad for organizing this. I want to thank the members who joined the call this evening. I especially want to thank Matthew Green for joining us. He works tirelessly for workers, not only in his riding, but Matthew and the NDP work tirelessly for workers across the country. And I do want to thank Matthew very much. But as Brad said, don't think that your hands are tied and there's nothing you can do, or it will be a waste of time. It will definitely not be a waste of time at all if you send that off what Brad and Nicholas are asking you to do. So again, Nicholas, thank you very much for having me.
Thank you very much. Matthew, any closing remarks for the members?
I just really enjoyed hearing remarks from everybody, particularly the last section there on political action. Political action gets the goods. I'm going to be back in Hamilton this week. Gina and the members that are local in Hamilton Center know that if we can do something in next week, I'm happy to be there for you. I'm happy to release the statement. But at the end of the day, like he said, if half of your members across this country took action in a directed way, you will get the attention of government and you will win. Thank you, Brother Nicholas. I really appreciate joining all of you here today and look forward to working with you and all the members in the weeks to come.
Thank you very much. Brother Briere, any closing remarks?
Yeah, thank you, Nicholas. I don't want to repeat everything that the previous speaker said, but I agree with them. Political action do work. I want to also encourage the members to take action and write to the minister, write to their MPs. This can be brought up at the House of Commons. We got friends with the NDP wanting to do so. And I intend to follow up also with, I forgot to mention it, to contact the Minister of National Revenue and not only the commissioner and the head of HR, but the minister herself. I want to have a good discussion with her because we're really not happy for sure. So the more that people are going to flood the minister's office and the commissioner's office and the MPs at the House, the more they're going to hear about it, the best it's going to be for me to help me out to deal with them and try to push on my end when people are pushing from the bottom up and me from the top.
Right.
We need to squeeze them. And look, we can't let them get away with this. And if, as I said, if we cannot stop this now because they signed the contract, they're going to move. Like it looks like they're going to move forward. We can make their life difficult. And if we can get them to scrap the contract even before 6 months, that would be great. So yeah, we need to apply the pressure. And I want to thank you, the locals of the Greater Toronto region, your RVP, and the members for joining tonight. And together we can move mountains. So let's get to work again and let's show them who they're dealing with. Brad, I totally agree with you, brother. We know each other for a long time. And yes, they should know who they're dealing with, and we're going to show them again. So thanks a lot for having me tonight.
Thank you very much. And just some quick points on the call to action. I see some people have asked some questions about it. You don't have to touch anything in the body of the call to action. Those fields are going to fill in when you put in your postal code. It's going to locate who your member of parliament is, and it's going to plug that in there automatically. So you don't have to touch the body of the email. Simply enter your name, postal code, and the top fields in the form, and click add your voice. There isn't it's not submit, so don't look for a submit button. It says add your voice. You click on that and it will submit there right away for you. I just wanted to bring on the GTR president, so the Greater Toronto region president. So I'm going to bring on Andrea Cullen. She's the Toronto Centre president. Sherry Whalen, she is the Barrie president, and Selby Hewitt, he is the Toronto West president, and then of course Brad Faraday, Toronto East. So when we heard about what was happening, we got together and we decided that we needed to act and mobilize the membership. So these are your local presidents who have really brought this call to action forward. So send them a message, of encouragement. It's not, organizing these things and bringing it to fruition. And, today was Andrea's day off and she's been working on this all day, so we have to appreciate and applaud that type of dedication. And, when you're serving in the union, it's really, you really have to have the heart and passion and dedication and service to others. It's really selfless. So I want to thank all of you for taking your time to step up to ensure that the jobs for our members are protected, that those jobs remain union jobs, and that we move forward in solidarity together, pushing back. So take a very good look at our faces and understand that we are not going to just roll over and, we are here to fight. We are here to fight. We bring a wealth of experience and we're not backing down. So get ready for a fight. We will fight for you. Thank you very much
and with
for joining us. Any words, any of you?
Take action.
Take action. Thank you very much. Thank
Be
you very
bold.
much.
Sign the
Shelby.
form.
Click the link.
Yeah.
Click the link. That's it. Simple words, but effective. Click the link, sign the form. That's all that we want you to do right now. By tomorrow morning, we want the minister, we want the MPs to have hundreds of emails about this issue so that it is treated as a priority.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for joining us, and have a great evening.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Good night. Stay safe.
Thank you.